and we are going to be the cover. Okay, so initially we are going to start with what? The Spring core module within the 1 week of classes. Okay, in this the core module, I'm going to be the cover the important topics of the Spring core module, such as what types of dependency injections. Okay, how to work with the Spring containers. Okay, and what is the auto wiring mechanism, and then followed with what Java based configurations. Okay, component scan features, understanding the Spring Bean life cycle, all these things which I'm going to be the cover as part of the Spring core module. Okay, if you guys do not have the knowledge on the Spring framework, you guys no need to bother about it. Okay, I will be the taking care of the first 1 week of sessions with the Spring core module. Okay, after you are the strong on the Spring basics, then we'll start with what? Then we'll start with the Spring Boot as a part 2. Okay, so we'll start with the Spring Boot. What is a Spring Boot, and what is the difference? What is the difference between Spring Boot and Spring framework? Okay, and what are the different features of the of the Spring Boot, and what are the advantages of the Spring Boot? Okay, what are the various components of the Spring Boot, and what are the various runners of the Spring Boot? All these things you are going to learn as part of the Spring Boot concepts. Okay, yes. After you are strong on the Spring Boot concepts, we can start with what? Spring Data JPA. Okay, Spring Data JPA. By using like as in the Spring Data JPA, so we can understand how to persist the data into the database. Okay, and how to retrieve the data into the database, how to retrieve the data from the database. Understand, guys? So we are going to understand with what? How we are going to save the data into the database, and how we are going to retrieve the data from the database. Using like as the various features of Spring Data JPA, guys. Okay, such as we do have a ready-made repositories are there in the Spring Data JPA, CRUD repository, JPA repository, paging and sorting repository. Okay, like this, we do have some sort of the repositories are there, guys, that we are going to be in a deep dive into that. Along with that, how can you write your custom queries, and can you write a finder? How can you write a queries by using finder methods? Okay, how can you write a native queries? Okay, how to execute like as in the stored procedures from Spring Data JPA. Okay, and how can you map the relations? Okay, how can you work with the relations one to one, one to many, many to one? Okay, all these things we are going to be the cover as part of the Spring Data JPA, guys. Okay, after completion of the Spring Data JPA, we are going to start with the Spring Boot Web MVC. How to develop the web applications using Spring Boot Web MVC module. Okay, so before understanding this one, we will talk about how to develop the web application using Spring Web MVC, and then you will get to know what are the problems with that. What are the problems with developing the web application using Spring Web module, and what are the advantages we are getting? What are the advantages of using developing the web application using Spring Boot Web MVC? Okay, lot of configurations got minimized here when compared with the Spring Web and the Spring Boot Web. Okay, lot of configurations got minimized, guys. Okay, we are going to understand the form submission. Okay, we are going to understand like as in the form submissions. Okay, and validations through client side and the server side validations. Okay, and then file uploading and downloading concepts. Okay, exporting the data as a PDFs and Excel. So all such a things which we are going to be the cover as part of the Spring Boot Web MVC module. Okay, coming to the next one. After completion of the Web MVC, okay, we are going to start with what? We will be the focusing on what? Distributed application development, that is using Spring REST module. Okay, Spring REST module, guys. Distributed application development means application to application communication, guys. How we are going to establish the communication from one application to another application in Java using RESTful web services. Okay, using what? RESTful web services, guys. Understand, guys? So the Spring has provided the library to work with what? RESTful web services, that is called Spring REST. Okay, REST API development. REST API development we are going to start as part of the Spring REST module. Okay, then after you guys are strong on the REST API development, so we are going to start with what? Microservices. So what is the difference between what is the monolithic application? What are the drawbacks of monolithic application? What is the importance of microservices architecture, and advantages and the disadvantages of microservices architecture? Okay, along with that, how to communicate from one microservice to another microservice. Okay, event driven architectures. Okay, and then applying some sort of a circuit breaker design patterns and CQRS design patterns. Okay, all these things which you are going to learn as part of the microservices. Okay. And after that, we do have some miscellaneous discussions about how to incorporate the security of a Spring Boot or the microservices, and how to work with messaging queues like such as ActiveMQ or the Apache Kafka. And we will be working on how to work with the Redis cache. And we were going to learn with some of the tools like Maven, some of the Maven build tool. Okay, Maven build tool and a Git versioning tool. Okay, and then Lombok API. And we are going to learn some of the IDEs. Okay, we are going to develop the applications using various IDEs, guys. STS IDE, Eclipse IDE, and IntelliJ IDE. And if the time permits, like we'll introduce with what VS Code as well, Visual Studio Code as well. And I will show you like how to make the deployment of the Spring Boot application in AWS as well. And finally, we are going to end with what? Backend, with the backend mini project development, guys. Simply, we are in the position to deploy to develop the REST APIs, full-fledged REST APIs from 0 to 100, from 0 to hero. Okay, simple. So we are going to develop a full-fledged the backend API, which will incorporate for all backend API from 0 to hero. These are the things which we are going to be the cover as part of this training program. Hope you guys are clear. Everybody, can you guys please confirm? Can you guys please confirm? Yep. Yes. Okay. Fine. Fine. So this is what the course roadmap is. This is nothing but on the course roadmap. Okay. Step by step, we are going to learn each and every topic, guys. Okay. Don't worry about it. So, and I'm going to share with you with the course content as well. Just a minute. Yeah. So see, guys, see. First, you need to switch into the Ashok IT portal. First, you guys need to navigate to the Ashok IT portal, and there is an option for you called courses offering section. Okay, once you click on that one, so you will open this. It will open for the tab for you guys. Okay, and under that you need to select the Java full stack development. Okay, Java full stack here. Under that there is the course called Spring Boot and Microservices. Just click on it to the view details. Click on it to the view details, guys. Click on it view details, and there is an option for you called what? Download course content. So this is what the course content, guys. This is what the course content of our training program, Spring Boot and Microservices. We are going to start with what? Spring basics only. Spring basics only. Okay. After that, we are going to learn the Spring Boot concepts. Then we are going to learn with what? Spring Data API. We are going to learn with the Spring Web MVC. Okay. Spring Web MVC, guys. Spring REST. Okay. Microservices. And you are going to learn some of the tools. Okay. So Maven tool, log for logging firm. See, you are going to learn with what? One of the build tool called Maven, and a log4j for logging purpose. And you can write like as in the unit test cases by using JUnit. And also I will show you like how to deploy how to run a job through Jenkins as well of a Spring Boot application. Okay, Postman and the Swagger and the Docker as well. Okay, yeah. These are the tools which you are going to be which we are going to get as part of this training program, guys. Okay, I'm just sharing you the course content, guys. I'm just sharing you the course contents in the Zoom chat. So please get that course content from the portal itself. Okay, yeah, fine. Any questions? Any questions? Okay, then. So let us see, guys. Let us see what are the course details. Course details. So what are the prerequisites we require? What are the prerequisites what are the prerequisites needed for this course? Sir, if you are you should need to be the strong on core Java and advanced Java. Okay, you should need to be the strong on the core Java and advanced Java concepts. And if you have if you have like as on the Spring framework as well, means that would be an advantage for you. If you do not have the Spring knowledge as well, you don't need to bother about. I will take care of you for the next 1 week of sessions. I will take care you the 1 week of sessions to give you the best knowledge on the Spring framework. Okay. Completely, this is a training. So the training mode will be an online only. So it is not an offline. So complete is going to be an online training. And then the session timings is fixed. Okay, that is morning 6:15 a.m. to 7:30 a.m. IST. That would be on the Monday to Saturday. The sessions will be. Okay, Monday to Saturday, the sessions will be. Okay, morning 6:15 guys. Okay, so for the next 1 week of sessions, we are going to start with the 6:15. Later on that, we will start with what 6 o'clock. Okay, later we are going to start with what 6 o'clock. So the minimum duration of our session should be what 1 hour 30 minutes, guys. 1 hour 30 minutes. Okay, so the batch code is 30 SBMS. Okay, and the course duration will be 3.5 to 4 months, guys. Okay, so this is what the plan for this course. Okay, so you can stick on to for what 4 months. You can stick on to for what 4 months, guys. Minimum 4 months is required. Understand? So so you see, as you already know that one Spring Boot and microservices is the vast and the huge content of the course, guys. Huge content of the course. We need to cover each and every point. Okay, we need to cover each and every topic of the content. So in order to fulfill that the content, so definitely we require the minimum of I require the minimum of 3.5 months to 4 months. Okay. Strictly, I am saying that you can stick on to what? Stick on to what? Stick on to what, guys? Stick on to what? 3.5 to 4 months. Okay. Yes, that is the one point you need to keep in mind, guys. Okay. Yes. And with the rest coming to the course fee. So the course fee is 8K for online, guys, and 10K for online plus backup videos. Okay. Yeah. Okay, fine. So the videos access you will be having like 1 year of and the video access, guys, and daily the notes you can download through Ashok IT portal, guys. Once you are done with the registration, so you can have an access. You can have an access of the class notes on the daily basis, and also you can have the access the videos of the daily basis as well. Okay. Yes, and the course content which I already shared you in the chat. Okay, this is the course information. This is the simple the course information, guys. Okay, yeah, and the courses highlighted, guys. So we will be having the detailed discussion of each and every topic. Okay, and we'll be covering the interview questions on the topic based interview questions during the discussions, and we'll be live coding with multiple IDEs. Okay, and we will be learning with the debugging, how to debug the when you got any kind of an issue when you are practicing the things. Okay, easily you can debug. I will guide you how to debug the code of and the I will guide you how to debug the code as well. Okay, that is called debugging. And around in this part of journey, okay, in this part of this the journey, guys, we are going to develop almost 60 to 70 applications, guys. 60 to 70 applications. Okay, 60 to 70 applications which we are going to develop. Understood? 60 to 70 applications which we are going to develop, guys. Okay. Yes. Okay, you should be getting some knowledge on what Maven, Git, Lombok, okay, Lombok and logging framework, Log4j, okay, JUnit and all these things. You will be we will be getting the knowledge on various tools, guys. Okay, yes, yes. So based on the people, guys, based on the people, you do have a lot of questions. So I picked some of the lot of questions frequently asked. Okay, yeah. Coming to the frequently asked questions, case based on the people. Okay, so I just selected some of the questions which are frequently got from the people, guys. Okay, yes. So see here. So can I attend this training without the knowledge of Spring Framework or not? Happily, you can attend, guys. No problem at all. Okay, I will take you through that in the next 1 week of sessions with the Spring core module concepts. Okay. Yes. Is this course is really, really helpful for advantage for the freshers? Definitely, of course, it is an advantage because nowadays the industry is always looking for what the Spring Boot and the microservices as for a Java developer's profile. Okay, so whether it is an experienced guy or the fresher guy, so they are always looking for what Spring Boot and the microservices, Spring Boot and the microservices should be there as part of in the resume for a Java developer. Okay, if you have this the Spring Boot and microservices, then only your then only your resume will be shortlisted. Okay, so the people are already habituated and utilizing with what Spring Boot and microservices in the market for the application developments. Okay, you just need to be the strong on what? Spring Boot and microservices concepts. Okay, yeah. So this course will give you how much of an experience of the knowledge, sir. Okay, definitely, guys. Some of them are so we may have like as the different peoples in the session, right? That might be in the freshers or so who are already working with the companies, and so some of the people are looking for the job opportunities. Okay, so they wanted to show some gap as an experience, so that so they should need to be the strong on the technical aspects. Okay, so definitely this course will help for them for a minimum of 3 to 4 years of an experience they can put easily. Understood? This is the minimum of 3 to 4 years. They will put easily. Okay, fine, fine. Okay, while practicing the class applications, if you have any kind of the blockers, how can we connect with you, sir? Okay, so definitely, guys, once the registrations got completed of this batch, so the admin team will take the admin team will create a private group for this private WhatsApp group for the communication. Okay, in that the communication easily you can share your the screenshots and your blockers, so that definitely I can help you on you. Okay, I'm the part of that group, so that definitely whenever I do have some free time, definitely I'm going to help you on that. Okay, so that is the thing. And how many months the videos will be having an accessibility, sir? From the starting of the day, guys, you will be getting like 1 year of an access from the starting of the course. Okay, yeah. So these are the some frequently questions which we got from the a lot of people. Okay, so that is what I clarified in this slide. Okay, yes. Hope you guys are clear up to now the course content. Hope you guys are clear up to now the course content. Anybody having any doubts? Yeah. If you have any doubts, please post the message in the chat, so that we'll take you through that at the end of the session. Okay, I will take you through that at the end of the session. Okay, fine. So let's get started with the Spring Core module, guys. Let's get started with the Spring Core module. Before going for the Spring Core module, I would like to tell you the brief information about like as in the Spring framework, guys. Okay, Spring framework. I would like to give you some brief information about the Spring framework. So as you already know that one, guys. Okay, Spring framework is an the Java based open source framework, guys. Java based open source framework. What do you mean by an open source? Everyone can download this Spring software from the free of cost, and everybody can work with what the Spring. So everybody can download the Spring software with the free of cost, and also the source code of the Spring software will also be an exposed to the developer. Understand? The source code is also the available along with the software along with the software, guys. That is why the Spring is an what? Open source. It's an open source Java based framework. Understand? That is a Java based open source framework, guys. Open source means anybody can download that particular software with without paying anything. That is the first point. Along with that, the source code is also will be exposed to the programmer. Understand? So the source code is also comes along with the Spring software, guys. That is the point. Okay, so and then we can say the Spring framework is also as an what? Enterprise application development. What do you mean that one, sir? What do you mean that one? Enterprise application development, guys. So typically we do have a several types of an applications in a real world. Okay, such as standalone applications, web applications, and distributed applications. Standalone applications means the application which can run on the specific mission. Such a kind of the software, such a kind of an application, we can call it as an what? Standalone applications. For example, so Acrobat Reader, MS Office Suite. Okay, MS Office Suite. Okay, then WinZip software, Zoom meet, so Zoom meeting software, and all these are nothing but on standalone applications, guys. The application which can run on a particular which can run on the particular mission, such a kind of an applications, we can call it as a standalone applications. By using the Spring framework, we can develop the standalone applications, guys. Understood? By using the Spring framework, what kind of an applications we can develop? Standalone applications. Okay, so the next category of an applications in the real world is web applications. What is the purpose of the web applications? Web application, what is the main purpose of the web application, guys? The application which can be available on the remote mission, that can be accessible through the internet, that can be accessible through the network or internet. Such a kind of an application, we can call it as an web application, right? Simple. The application which can be accessible through the internet, such a kind of an application, we can call it as an web application, guys. Okay, so the day in our day-to-day activity, you will be interacting with a lot of the web applications, guys, such as what flipkart.com, amazon.com, Ashok IT portal, LinkedIn, Facebook, and all these are the web applications, guys. All these are nothing but the web applications. So we can develop by using the Spring framework, we can easily develop the web applications as well. Understood? Understood? That is the point, guys. Okay, that is the point. And that is the second category of an application development in a Spring. That is called web application. So coming to the next one. So the third one. What is the third kind of an application we can develop? Distributed application. Distributed application, guys. What do you mean by distributed application? So distributed application means nothing but an application to application communication. This is the one of the most trending application development in the market. Okay, that is called distributed application, guys. Distributed application means how we are going to establish the communication from one application to another application. How we are going to communicate from one application to another application, guys. So by using the RESTful web services concept. By using what? RESTful web services concept, guys. Okay, by using the RESTful web services concept, guys. Okay, so basically, if you take an example with respect to the distributed application, yesterday I given you that an example. When you guys are purchasing something in the online shopping portal, okay, finally once you are selected your items and you are making some payment, so you are making some payment using any kind of the payment option. So at the time, our Flipkart application or our Amazon application will start communicating with what? Payment application or not? Payment services or not? Such as what? PayUmoney, Razorpay, okay, payment gateway, okay, all these are nothing but on the payment services case. Payment services, which is nothing but another application, which is another application which is the responsible for taking care of payments. Understand? Razorpay, PayUmoney, Paytm, okay, like payment gateway, and all these are nothing but on the third party applications which they are already taking care about the payment services. Okay, so Flipkart never developed the payment services, guys. Flipkart is utilizing the services from payment application. Flipkart is utilizing the services of a payment application, guys. Payment services is another application and Flipkart is the one application. So how we are going to establish the communication from one application to another application? Try to respond over the chat. Try to respond over the chat. How the communication takes place from one application to another application, guys? How the communication will take place from one application to another application? Using RESTful web services, correct? Using what? The RESTful web services, guys. Using the RESTful web services, guys. Using the RESTful web services only, the communication will take place from one application to another application. That is called distributed applications, guys. By using the Spring framework, we can develop the distributed applications as well. Understood? So can you guys please confirm what are the different kinds of applications we can develop using the Spring framework? What are the different kinds of applications which we can develop using Spring framework, guys? What are the different kinds of applications which we can develop using Spring framework? Yes, standalone applications, okay, web applications, and distributed applications. Okay, so that's why the Spring will comes under the category of what? Enterprise application development, guys. We can develop any kind of an application using Spring framework. That is the point here. Understood? Yes. So the next one is, so the Spring is the modularized framework, guys. Okay, in order to develop the standalone applications, or in order to develop the web applications, or in order to develop the distributed applications, we required some library from the Spring, right or not? That library is provided by the Spring vendor in the form of what? Different modules. Different modules. Those modules are independent with each other module. Those modules are independent with each other. So that's why the Spring framework is an modularized framework. Modularized framework, guys. Okay, in order to develop the enterprise application, guys, the Spring vendor has given a lot of libraries, guys. Those libraries are called it as an what? Modules, and these modules are independent with other modules, guys. Simple. Independent modules, and all these modules are very independent. That's why the Spring we can call it as an what? Modularized framework. Okay, in the next slide, you will get to know the architecture so that you will get an idea about the modularized framework, guys. Okay, yes. Fine. So that is the point. The next one is what? Simplicity of POJO's case, or we can call it as an the loosely coupling, or we can call it as an what? Spring framework is going to be the popular with what? Because of simplicity of POJO's or loose coupling case. What do you mean by loose coupling, or what do you mean by simplicity of POJO's? See here, simplicity of POJO's means nothing but an, so when you guys are creating any kind of classes inside the Spring framework, you no need to worry about extending the framework given provided classes. Understand, guys? So see, when you guys are working with the Spring framework, definitely, okay, when your application is utilizing the Spring framework to develop the business requirement, you guys are going to create a lot of classes. So these classes, no need of extending the framework provided classes. No need of extending the framework provided classes. So all the classes are independent and simple POJOs, simple Java classes, nothing more on it. Tell me, guys, when you are developing any kind of an applications in the Spring framework, are you going to extend or implement any predefined class or interface from Spring library? No. Simply always you are going to develop the classes as what? Simple POJOs, simple Java classes. No need of extending any predefined class from Spring library, and no need of implementing the predefined interface to our Spring class, to a Java class. So that's why the Spring framework is always going to be in the simplicity of POJOs. Understood? And Spring, this is the one of the most important feature of the Spring framework, guys. One of the most important feature of the Spring framework, that is dependency injection and IOC control. IOC control, inversion of control. Understand? Inversion of control. So what do you mean this one, sir? What do you mean by dependency injection, and what do you mean by IOC, sir? Okay. So generally, when you guys are developing an application, are you going to create like as in the lot of classes or not? Come on, guys, try to respond. So generally in an application development, are you going to create a lot of classes in your project or not? You are going to create like as in the lot of classes in the project or not? And also, you wanted to start communicating from one class to another class or not? Suppose you have created like as in the one class, okay, you created a couple of classes in your project. Okay, yes. You created a lot of, so suppose example, you do have a lot of classes have been created, guys. Lot of classes have been created in your project. Suppose example, this class A, this is the class A, guys. Class A wanted to utilize the services from class B. So this class object services is required, guys. Okay, and at the same way, this class also requires some services from this class as well. Understand? So means that, can you guys tell me, A class is utilizing the services from how many classes? A class is utilizing the services from how many classes? A class is utilizing the services of how many classes? 2 classes. A class is utilizing the services of what? How many classes, guys? 2 classes. 2 classes, B class and C class. And at the same way, B class wanted, so this is the B class. So the B class wanted to access, wanted some services from the C class, and then, and A class services also is required for the B class. So tell me, so typically this kind of communication may occur in our project development or not? So definitely, whenever you guys are creating a lot of classes in the project, so one class will require another class object. Okay, in such a cases, what you are going to do, guys? Explicitly, you are going to create an object of certain, so explicitly, you are going to create an object by using the new keyword inside the main class or not? Come on, guys. Is that true? Yes. So definitely. So whenever the one class needs services from the another class means definitely you are going to create a new, or you are going to create an object of the required class inside the main class by using the new keyword, guys, explicitly. In such a case, the programmer need the responsibility for creating a objects of the required classes or not? So tell me, who will be the creating an object of a B class and object of C class in the A class? Who will be the taking care of creating an object of B class and object of C class inside the A class? Programmer. Programmer need to create it. Programmer need to create explicitly, guys. Okay. The programmer only need to create an object of that the certain classes, guys. So that JVM will automatically give you that object inside the A class. Okay. So means explicitly we need to create an object of that certain classes, guys, in the application development. Okay. But if you guys are utilizing the Spring framework in your project, you no need to worry. You no need to worry. So you just hand over. Okay. You just hand over your classes. Okay. You just need to hand over your classes, guys. You just need to hand over your classes to whom? Spring. You just need to hand over to whom? Spring. Spring will take care of creating an objects of these classes, and Spring will take care of injecting the one class object into another class. For example, A class requires what? B class object and C class object. So Spring only will take care. Spring only will take care of injecting this B class object into A class and C class object into A class. Understand? As a programmer, you no need to worry. All these things will be done by whom? Spring for you. Okay, as a programmer, responsibility is for what? Just you need to create your Java classes required for your project. Just hand over that classes to the Spring framework, so that Spring framework will take care of creating an objects and injecting the objects into the required classes. Understand, guys? Understand, guys? That is called dependency injection. That is called dependency injection. The process of injecting the one class object into the the process of injecting the dependent class object into the main class. Okay, so dependent object into the main class, that is called dependency injection. Who will perform that? Who will inject those objects? Who will inject those objects? Spring container. Spring container. Understand? So as you are already worked with what? Servlet containers and JSP containers in advanced Java, right? Servlet container responsibility is for what? Just for managing the life cycle of servlet program or not? And JSP container responsibility is for what? Just for managing the life cycle of JSP program or not? Life cycle means what, guys? Creating an object of the certain classes and executing the life cycle methods, and finally destroying the object of that particular servlet or not? That is called lifecycle management of servlet program. When it comes for the JSP lifecycle, JSP container, guys, JSP container will take care of what? Lifecycle of the JSP program, guys. What do you mean that one? Creating an object of underlying Java equivalent servlet program and executing the JSP lifecycle methods and destroying the underlying Java equivalent servlet program. These things will be managed by whom? JSP container. Okay, servlet class related object creation and destruction and executing the lifecycle methods will be managed by whom? Servlet container. Okay, are you going to call such a kind of methods, guys? Tell me. When you guys are working with the init method or service method or a destroy method, are those methods are called? Are you going to call such a methods from the main program? No, not at all. So those methods are executed automatically by the container. So when it will be executed based on the some events. Understand? Like that, the Spring is also having their own container, guys, to create an objects for this bean classes and inject the one class object into the another class. That things can be done by whom? Spring container. Spring container. So dependency injection means it's a process of injecting the one object into the another one class object into another class. That is called dependency injection. So this dependency injection always going to be find in at what moment? At runtime. At runtime by the Spring container, guys. The process of injecting the dependent object into the main object at runtime by the Spring container is called dependency injection. Understood, everybody? So come on, guys. In entire Spring framework, who will be the taking care of creating an objects? Who will be the taking care of creating an objects? Programmer need to create an object, the objects explicitly, or Spring will take care of creating an objects implicitly? Come on, guys. Spring container will take care of it, right? Yes, correct. So as a programmer, guys, you no need to bother about it. As a programmer, you no need to bother about to create an objects for the certain classes in a Spring framework. Spring container will take care of it, guys. Spring container will take care of it. And Spring container will take care of injecting the dependent object into the main object as well. Understood? That is the thing. And Spring is going to be in the lightweight framework. Spring is going to be in the lightweight framework, guys, because of several reasons, guys. Because of several reasons. One is one of the reason is for what? Lightweight containers. As I told you before the point, right? So Spring container will take the responsibility of creating an objects of of the Java classes, and Spring container only will take care of injecting the dependent class object into the main class. All these things will be done by whom? Behalf of the programmer Spring container. Okay. And Spring has given very lightweight containers, guys. When you guys working with a servlet container and JSP container, those are heavyweight containers. Those are the heavyweight containers, guys. Why? Because it required some sort of resources. It required some sort of resources to start working with that containers, basically. Okay, but Spring containers are lightweight. Wherever you want, you can activate. Wherever you want to destroy, you can destroy it. That kind of a flexibility will given by the Spring vendor to the programmer, guys. Understand? Wherever you want to activate the Spring container, you can activate it by creating an object of certain classes. Okay, sir, container is not an executable file. One point you need to keep in mind. Container is not an executable file. Container is not any kind of jar file. Okay, container is not any kind of batch file. Okay, it's a simple Java class. It's simple Java class. Simple. It's a simple Java class. Once you create an object for that certain class, guys, automatically the Spring container got instantiated. Guys. So that's why the Spring has provided the very two lightweight containers. One is Bean Factory container and the another one is application context container, guys. So by working with these two containers, okay, by working with the two containers which we are going to use, we are going to work with what? Two containers, guys, in the going forward session. Understood? So Spring is going to be in the lightweight. So because of what? It contains lightweight containers. What do you mean by lightweight containers? You can have a flexibility. Programmer can have a flexibility to activate and deactivate the Spring container at any point of time. Understood? And as I told you, the Spring container is not at all any executable file, guys. You no need to install anything explicitly. Okay, you no need to run the batch file, or it is not a jar file. It's a simple Java class. Simple. It's a simple Java class, nothing more on it. Clear? Clear, guys? Yes. This is the simple brief information about the Spring framework. Everybody on the same page? Can you guys please confirm? Try to give the response. Everybody on the same page? Any confusions? If you have any questions, please post that question in the chat box. Yes. Okay, fine. Fine, guys. Let's come to the next one. So this is what the simple architecture, guys. A simple architecture of the Spring framework, as I already told you. Okay, so the all the libraries in the Spring got organized within the form of what modules. Okay, so modules, guys, modules here. Okay, see, if you see here the architecture, guys. So this is what the base container, guys. This is what the base container. Okay, base container is what? Core container. So under the core container, you are going to work with what? Beans, how to create a Spring Beans, and how to work with what? How to work with what? Containers, and how to work with what? Spring expression language, and how to work with what? Context library as well. This is the base container, guys. Spring core container is the base container, guys. Base module for rest of other modules. If you are the strong on the Spring core module, easily you can learn with what? Spring JDBC. Okay, you can easily learn with what? Spring Web. Easily you can learn with what? Spring AOP. Usually you can learn with what? Spring ORM. Okay, in order to learn all these modules, guys, okay, you need to be the very strong on what? Core concepts. Okay, if you are the strong on the core concepts, guys, definitely you can learn the rest of other modules very easily. Along with that, you can easily understand the Spring Boot concepts as well. You can enjoy the Spring Boot advantages, guys. If you know the pain of developing the Spring application, definitely you will be enjoying with the Spring Boot sessions. Okay, that much of configurations are simplified in the Spring Boot. That much of configurations got simplified in the Spring Boot, guys. If you want to develop the same application in the, so for example, you developed the web application using Spring Web module. So developing the web application using Spring Web module is taking with what? 30 minutes of time. Okay, so such as configuring the server to the Eclipse IDE, creating some project in the Eclipse IDE, okay, creating some certain classes, configurations. Okay, at a one go, you cannot execute the application, and you will be taking some minimum number of times, like 5 to 10 minutes, 5 to 10 times. You need to fix the issues, and you need to keep on deploying the application, which will take around 30 minutes of time, right or not? In order to develop the web application using Spring framework of Spring Web module, which will requires what? 30 minutes, minimum 30 minutes. Okay, yes. But if you guys wanted to develop the web application using Spring Boot framework, using Spring Boot module or Spring Boot framework, so which will take matter of 10 minutes. That much of configurations got simplified. Guys. Okay, that is the beauty of Spring Boot. Okay, so no worries, don't worry. So going forward, you will get to learn all these things. Okay, so see, guys, as part of this an architecture, I'm going to highlight some of the important modules. Spring core module, guys, which is in the base module for rest of other modules, as rest of other modules of the Spring framework. And so the next module is what? Spring Web module. By using like as in the Spring Web module, we can develop the web applications in Java. So we can develop the web application using the Spring framework. Okay, as I told you guys on yesterday, okay, we can develop the web applications in using like as in the Spring in the two ways. One is servlet based web applications and portlet based web applications, guys. So most of the industry is developing most of the industry using what? Servlet based web application development only. Portlet based web applications, it's minimum of 3 to 5% of people are utilizing that one. That is an example for LifeRay framework. LifeRay. The people who are already having some knowledge on the LifeRay, they will know that one. That is a portlet based application development. Okay, yes. So these are the two kinds of the web applications which we can develop using what? Spring Web. Servlet based web applications, example is the Spring MVC. Okay, Spring MVC will comes under what? Servlet based web applications. And portlet based web applications means nothing but an LifeRay. Understood? Yes. So after that, guys, Spring DAO, guys, data access objects. Okay, data access. What is the purpose of the data access? Whenever the Spring application wanted to start communicating with the database for storing the information or retrieving the information, so definitely we need to take the support of what? Spring DAO module. So again, this DAO will have two things. One is what? JDBC. Another one is what? So one is what? JDBC, guys. Another one is what? JDBC. Okay. 1 minute. Okay. So we have the two things here. One is what JDBC, Spring JDBC. Another one is called Spring ORM. Okay, Spring JDBC is an extension of JDBC. It's an extension of JDBC, guys. In advanced Java, you people learn about the JDBC, right? Java database connectivity. So Java database connectivity having some drawbacks. So to overcome the drawbacks, Spring vendor provided some abstractions on the Spring vendor provided some abstraction, guys. Okay. Okay, Spring provided some abstraction on top of the JDBC, case that is called Spring JDBC. Spring JDBC. Okay, yes. So that is called Spring JDBC, case. Working with the Spring JDBC is more efficient than JDBC, case. That's all. Okay, and that is the Spring JDBC module, guys. And the Spring ORM, guys. What is the main purpose of ORM? How can you map a Java object to the database table? That is called ORM frameworks. ORM frameworks. So we do have a lot of ORM frameworks are available in the market, such as JPA, Hibernate, IBATIS, okay, IBATIS, Toplink, JDO, and all these are nothing but an ORM frameworks. Spring is also came up with what? The Spring is also came up with the separate module to work with another ORM, guys, that is called Spring ORM. Spring ORM. So these are the two modules are there in the Spring DAO. That is Spring JDBC and Spring ORM, guys. That's all. Okay. So the next one is a Spring AOP, guys. Spring AOP, aspect oriented programming, which is on the new style of applying the middleware services to the business methods. Okay. So for example, yesterday I told you with an example with the bank class where you can have what a deposit method and withdraw method. While executing these methods, I wanted to apply some middleware services such as logging service, transaction service, email service. Okay. Like that, I would like to execute this kind of execute some sort of the middleware services, guys. In order to execute those middleware services, I can have the two options. One is what object oriented programming. Okay. Another one is what aspect oriented programming given by the Spring framework. Okay. Yes. Object oriented programming is, if I'm going to use the object oriented programming concepts to apply the middleware services, there might be the chance of a programmer may forget to call the methods or forget to extend the classes. Okay. So to overcome that the problem, Spring is came up with what AOP support. Spring is came up with what the support of what AOP, guys, while executing of your business method. So while executing of your business method, guys, Spring will take care of applying the middleware services to the business method. Understand? Understand? So while executing the business method, guys, Spring will take care. The Spring will take care only. So the middleware services to apply for the business methods. Spring will get to know for which business method requires the middleware services, for which business method doesn't require the middleware services. So that kind of configurations which you are going to work with what AOP basically. Understand? These are the some of the important modules of the Spring framework, guys. Clear? Sir, dependency injection means it's a process of injecting dependent object into the main object by the container at runtime. That is called dependency injection. IOC means inversion of control. It's a kind of a design pattern. It's a kind of the design pattern to provide what dependency injection, to support for what dependency injection. Okay. So far you clear? So what is Pojo? So Pojo means it's a plain old Java object. Plain old Java object, guys. Plain old Java objects means it's a simple Java class. It's a simple Java class. Doesn't extending any other classes from third party libraries, or doesn't implements any interface from the third party libraries. That is called Pojo. Simple. If my class is not at all extending and not at all implementing, okay, any kind of class or any interface from third party libraries, that is called Pojo classes. Okay. So in the entire Spring application development, we will be going with what simple Pojos only. We will be developing with the classes with the called as and what simple Pojos. Clear? Fine. So This is about with the modules of the architecture, guys. Everybody is the clear? Shall I get into the next slide? Shall I get into the next slide? Everyone about the clear of this the architecture, guys. I just highlighted so the some of the important modules. Core module is a base module for every other modules. Okay, and web module is used for developing the web applications in the Spring framework. And DAO module is used for persisting and retrieving the saving and retrieving the data from the DBs. And the next one is AOP, aspect oriented programming, is suitable for applying the middleware services to the business methods in efficient manner. Okay, shall we get into the next slide? Why the Pojo classes is needed means, see, typically in an application requirement, typically in the application development, okay, you need to create some sort of classes. For example, you got the task from your project, you got the task from your manager asking you to develop some task, one user story in your project. In such a case, tell me, are you going to add the code in the existing classes? Some user stories can touch like as an existing classes to modify. Okay, and at the same way, there might be the chance of you are creating the classes. You are creating the classes. In such a cases, when you guys are working with the Spring framework, definitely you are going to create a classes. So that classes are should be on what? Always it should be on what? Independent. It should not be dependent on what? Third-party libraries. Okay, fine. Yeah. So the next point is, okay, let us try to understand the importance of the core module. Let's deep dive into what? Spring Core. Okay, as you know that one, Spring Core module is the base module for remaining modules of the Spring framework, guys. Without learning the Spring Core module, you cannot work with what rest of other modules, guys. Once you learn with the Spring Core, you can learn the rest of other modules in any order. Understand? Once you learn with the Spring Core module, guys, once you learn with the Spring Core module, you can learn with the rest of other modules in the Spring framework in any order, guys. Okay, the base should be Spring Core. The base should be Spring Core. If you are strong, then you can work with the rest of other modules in any order. Okay, so if you are strong on the Spring Core, and one more advantage you will be the having is what? Understanding the Spring Boot concepts is also very easy for you. That's why we are starting with what? Spring Core here. And Spring Core is the central part of the Spring framework, guys. So Spring Core is the central part of the Spring framework to work with what? Spring container. Okay, by using this module, what we are going to work, guys? We are going to work with what? Spring container or not? So mean that how the Spring container is creating an objects, how the Spring container is creating an objects, how the Spring container is injecting the dependent objects into the main bean, how the Spring container is destroying the bean, how the Spring container is destroying the objects. All these things will be managed by whom? Spring container. In order to work with the Spring containers, okay, so which module you need to learn? Which module we need to learn as part of the Spring modules? Spring Core module. Okay, Spring Core is a central part of the Spring framework, guys. Central part of the Spring framework to work with what? Spring container, guys. Spring container manages how the beans are created, how the Java objects are created, and how the Java objects are created, and how the Java objects got injected, and how the Java object got destroyed. Understood? Those things you are going to learn as part of the Spring Core module, guys, with the detail. And this module makes the Spring application as an lightweight, guys. Lightweight because you will be providing the loose coupling between the Java objects. Okay. So another advantage, another point about the Spring Core module is, okay, when you guys are working with the Spring Core module, you are always going to develop an application with the help of loosely coupled objects, case. So how can you do that one? That I'm going to talk in the later. Okay, as of now, for the time being, so just remember this point. This module only will make the Spring application as an what? Lightweight, guys, by providing the loose coupling between the Java objects. How to do the loose coupling between the Java objects, I will talk about later. Okay, yes, that is another point, guys. And this module provides some services called what? dependency injection service, email service, internationalization service, AOP integration. Okay, all these things, this module will provide the services, guys. Understand? Spring Core module is nothing but on the base module for rest of other modules. By using the Spring Core module, we can work with what Spring containers. Okay, and then this module will make what lightweight, guys. Lightweight because because it will be the providing what loose coupling between the Java objects, and this module will provides what? This module will provides what, guys? Services like dependency injection, email, okay, internationalization, AOP integration, all these things, guys. And this is the core container, guys. Core container contains what? For core container contains what? 4 submodules. One is what? Beans submodule. Another one is called core module. The third one is called context module. And the fourth one is what? Spell. Spell means Spring Expression Language. Spring Expression Language, guys. Understood? These are the 4 submodules of. These are the 4 submodules of what? These are the 4 submodules of what? Spring container. Understand? So beans, how to make the spring, so how the spring container is making the marking as an what spring bean classes, and how where the containers are there as part of the core module. Core submodule is nothing but on what? Working with the containers. Context means nothing but on what? So it's nothing but on whenever you guys are working with any kind of property files or the profiles that you can do with what? Context. Spell. So whenever you want to execute some sort of methods through programmatically, okay, through programmatically and dynamically, guys, you can go with what? Spell. It's an expression language, guys. In the JSP, we have learned with on what? Expression language. Similar way of an expression language we do have in Spring called Spring Expression Language. That's all. Hope you guys are clear about the Spring Core module information. Sir, hands-on part we are going to talk soon. Okay, so in order to start the hands-on part, we require some theoretical discussions. You need to know something about Spring Core module. You need to know something about the Spring framework. Then only we can start the coding part very easily. Okay, step by step I'm going to talk, guys. Step by step we are going to talk the discussions. Okay, so in order to build the Spring application, guys, we require some sort of parameters. Okay, first you need to know what is a Spring container, how to work with the Spring container, and then after that what you can do, how to create a Spring bean. Okay, and how can you create a Spring bean? How can you recognize the Spring bean as in the, how can you recognize, so creating a Java class, and how can you mark this Java class as a Spring bean? What are the various ways? All these things I'm going to talk you guys. Okay. Yes. So this is the second session. This is the second session only. So we cannot get into the hands-on part very soon. We cannot get into the hands-on part, guys, because in order to start with the hands-on part, we require to know some parameters. So that parameters which we are going to be the cover here. That's all. Hope you guys are clear. Hope you guys are clear. Okay, fine. Let's get into the what? Spring container, guys. Let's get into what? Spring container. Let's get into what? Spring container. What do you mean by Spring container? Spring container. It is managing about the Spring life cycle. It is managing about the life cycle of and the Spring bean or not? How the Spring how the Spring bean object is created. Okay, how the dependency injection, how the dependent object will be injected into the main class, and how the Spring bean object is destroyed. All these things will be managed by whom? Spring container, guys. So as I already told you guys, container is in the software application or a Java class that that can take care of what? Whole life cycle of given resource, guys. So this is the basic terminology of container. Basically, container is in the software application, guys, or a Java class that can be taking care of whole life cycle of given resources. If you take a servlet container is as in the software application or a Java class that will be the taking care of whole life cycle of servlet program. Understand? Same way, the Spring container is also nothing but a Java class which is provided by the Spring framework. Okay, which is provided by the Spring framework, guys, which is provided by the Spring framework, but it is not an executable file, or a batch file or any kind of setup file, guys. Understood? Spring container is nothing but a Java class. So wherever you want to instantiate, immediately the Spring container got activated. Okay. So it is not an executable file or any batch file or not a setup file. You don't need to install anything to work with what Spring container. These things will comes along with the Spring software only. Okay, I will show you the environment. I will show you how to download the Spring software and how to do the environmental setup and all these things. Okay, don't worry about it, guys. I will take you through from step by step. I will take you through that the step by step, guys. Okay, just you guys just focus on the session. Just focus on the session, guys. That should be the fine. I will take you through each and every step. Okay, fine. So see, guys, so basically, as I told you, the Spring has been provided the two types of containers, guys. One is a Bean Factory container. Another one is called application context container, guys. One is what? The Bean Factory container. Another one is what? Application context container. Okay. So Bean Factory container and application context container, guys. These are the two containers. These are the two lightweight containers given by the Spring framework. By using these containers only, we can instantiate the objects of Spring Bean classes, and we can inject the Spring Bean objects from one class into another class, and also we can see by you, and also we can destroy the Spring Bean objects as well, guys. Understood? That is what I just defined here. Bean Factory can only provides the dependency injection, guys. So see, guys, this is the first container, guys, Bean Factory container. So Bean Factory container is providing the services only for what? Dependency injection, guys. Dependency injection means how the Spring Beans are created. Okay, and how the Spring Beans are created, and how those objects get injected into the classes, and how those objects got destroyed. So that is the dependency injection, guys. Okay, and the application context is a application context will provide more services than Bean Factory container. Okay, application context container will provide like as more services than Bean Factory container, guys. Why? Because application context interface is extending for what? Bean Factory interface. Sir, is it possible in Java can extend from one interface to another interface? Can you guys please confirm? Is it possible to extend like one interface from the another interface? Is it possible in Java? Is it possible in Java or not? Can we extend one interface to another interface or not? Happily you can do, right? Happily you can do. So Bean Factory container is a parent interface and application context is a child interface, guys. That's why the application context container will have more features than Bean Factory container. Okay, so what are the services? Application context container can provide the services of what? Dependency injections. Okay, provided the dependency injection and AOP service and AOP integration service and internationalization service and event handling mechanism. Event handling mechanism. These services are provided by whom? Application context container or Bean Factory container? Application context container, guys. Okay, so Bean Factory container and application context, Bean Factory and application context are nothing but an interfaces from Spring library. Okay, interfaces from Spring library, guys. So Bean Factory container is a parent interface and the application context is nothing but the child interface. Clear, everybody? Okay, this is how about like as in the information about containers, guys. Okay, so see, guys, these are the implementation classes of Spring container. So see, Bean Factory is an interface, Bean Factory is an interface, and application context is an interface. So can we have implementation classes for these interfaces or not? Come on, guys, try to respond. Can we have the implementation classes for this an interface or not? Can we have the implementation classes for this interface or not, guys? Definitely. Definitely. Yes, we can, right? Yes. So that is what I'm going to show you here. Implementation classes. Okay. The Bean Factory is an interface and its implementation classes are nothing but on what? XML Bean Factory, simple JNDA Bean Factory, and a default listable Bean Factory, guys. Okay. So these are the implementation classes of Bean Factory interface. So when it comes for application context, guys, application context interface is also having for what? Implementation classes. What are those? class path XML application context, file system XML application context, and then followed with what? XML web application context. These are the implementation classes of application context, guys. Okay. So once you create an object of this certain classes, guys, then only the Spring container got activated in the Spring application. Once you create an object of this certain class, only the Spring container got activated. Keep the point in your mind. This is the very most important. Once you create an object of this certain implementation classes, then only the Spring container got activated in your Spring application. Okay. Yes. Activating the Spring application is nothing but an what? Creating an object of implementation class for either of any Spring containers. Sir, you can activate. So based on your requirement, whether you want to activate a bean factory container or application context container, based on your requirement, you can activate by creating an object of this implementation classes, guys. And most frequently used implementation classes are XML bean factory and class path XML application context, guys. Okay, so mostly used implementation classes are for what, guys? XML bean factory and class path XML application context in the Spring application development. And so tell me, guys, when you are working with servlet technology and the JSP technology, are you going to have an option to activate such containers? Tell me, guys, whenever you guys are working with the servlet technology or JSP technology, guys, is there a chance to activate the servlet container and JSP container by you? Not at all. We cannot activate the servlet container and JSP container, guys, by creating an object of the certain classes. Those are heavyweight containers. These containers will activate during the server startup time only. Understood, everybody? Understood or not? So we cannot activate. You cannot activate for what, guys? You cannot activate the servlet container and the JSP container, guys, by creating an object of the certain classes. So those are the heavyweight containers. Those are the heavyweight containers, and those containers will be activated during the server startup time. Understood, guys? Everybody? Is that clear? Yes. Fine. Yeah, at the runtime only. At the runtime only. Once you create an object, so see, once you create an object of the certain class, okay, certain class, then only the Spring container got activated at runtime. Yes. Okay, fine. So this is all about the Spring container related information, guys. In the tomorrow session, I will have the continuation of the discussion about a Spring configuration. Okay, how to mark some Java class as a Java class as a Spring Beans. Okay, all these things I'm going to talk in the tomorrow session. Okay, so this is all about for the today's session, guys. So we will have some Q&A question and answer session. Okay, on every day of the session at the end, guys. So let me give you that option. This is all about for the today from my side. So now it's a turn for you so to ask the questions. Yeah, one by one, please go ahead. Anybody having any questions?
In this bean factory and application context, right, you have these classes 3 on both the sides. Like, how do you know which class do you need to initiate? What would be the purpose? You will go into the details later, is it?
Yes. As of now, for understanding purpose, I'm just highlighted the classes and its implementation classes, interfaces and implementation classes. Going forward, we will understand so which class we need to pick from this class for these implementations.
Okay. Out of the core, right, you only highlighting bean factory and application context. What about the others, like the string expression language, other things?
Spring expression language is not a container, right? It is not a container. It's a simple concept. It's a simple the concept of evaluating the expressions. Okay, so yeah, that is not a container basically.
But there will be a discussion on the spell.
Yeah, so basically that is what I'm trying to say. In the Spring Core module, whatever the important topics we required to start with the Spring Boot, those things I'm going to be the focus more.
Okay.
Any other questions from the team? See, as I already told you, the Spring container, the Spring. So we are going to activate the Spring container in our applications only. Programmer only will activate. That kind of flexibility will be there to activate the Spring container, to deactivate the Spring container. Okay. So you cannot work with what servlet container and JSP container by starting the server. Okay. Wherever you want to activate, you can activate it. Simple. Any other questions, guys, related to the course? Any other info required from my side?
Not about the topics, but the course code 31 SBMS or 38 SBMS?
30 MBBS, 30 SBMS.
Because your colleagues keep saying it's 31, your web page also says that it's 31, so they refused to register for 30 yesterday.
1 minute, let me show you. 1 minute. So if it is mismatched, huh? Not sure. 1 minute. It's showing as 30 only. It's showing as
remember the course page that you showed in the beginning that says 31, and yesterday when I called your colleagues, it says they also say that it's 31.
Where the course page you're talking?
Select Spring Boot and microservices here.
Here, this one.
Yeah, and
Download course content. This is the page.
Not the content. I saw it somewhere. Let me look again.
Might be in the email. In the email, you may have found this code.
No, it's actually ashokittech.com online training schedule. And if you look at there's number 2, Spring Boot microservices, Mahesh trainer, starting 18th May. And if you click on register now, somewhere it's at 31. But anyway, I mean, if you confirm that it's 30, then we can, that's good.
Yeah. Oh, okay. 31 here we have.
Yes.
Okay. So I will check with the admin team. So basically, I believe it is 30 only. So might be there. Huh? I will check with the admin team. No problem. Any other questions, guys? Any other questions? Okay, then. That's all for the today, guys. Again, we'll meet you on the tomorrow. Okay. So tomorrow we'll meet you and continue the rest of the things, guys. That's all for today. We'll meet you on the tomorrow. Have a nice day. Bye-bye.